Have you ever noticed how the people with the most drive and ambition often end up having the biggest setbacks? It seems a bit strange, but the very things that make you strong, your push to succeed, your steadfastness, your readiness to overcome any obstacle, are the same traits that can lead you straight to burnout. I've been there myself. That overwhelming tiredness where your mind feels clouded, and what used to get you fired up now just leaves you feeling depleted. Many people believe burnout happens when they aren't strong enough. But the reality is, burnout isn't a sign you're weak. It's what happens when you use your strength, but in the wrong way. Over the next few minutes, I'll be diving into a 5-step system that was a total game changer for me. It didn't just pull me back from the edge of a complete mental breakdown. It completely revolutionized how I think about getting things done and managing my energy levels. These aren't your run-of-the-mill quick fixes or temporary solutions, mind you. We're talking about real, fundamental changes to my habits that have given me lasting protection against burning out. Habit number 1, the essential plan for setting boundaries. It's common for people to believe that setting boundaries is all about telling other people no. However, the boundaries that truly matter are the ones you establish for yourself. The boundary blueprint is centered around establishing firm, non-negotiable structures that safeguard your mental energy from your own, less helpful inclinations. Imagine your mental energy as a special type of bank account with very particular rules. Every day, you receive a brand new deposit. But unlike a financial account, you can't take out an advance on tomorrow's energy. Once you've used it up, it's gone, and the consequences of overextending yourself are quite severe, manifesting as diminished cognitive abilities, difficulty managing emotions, and sheer physical fatigue. To put the boundary blueprint into action, begin by pinpointing 3 energy protectors that are absolutely non-negotiable for you. These are the lines you won't cross, period, no matter how much pressure you're under. Personally, mine are: I stay off screens after 9 p.m., I carve out 20 minutes for morning meditation before I even think about grabbing my phone or computer, and I don't let work interrupt my family dinner hour. The reason this approach works so well lies in how it cuts down on decision fatigue. By setting these boundaries ahead of time, you're not constantly draining your brain power, deciding whether to stick to them each time they're tested. You made the call once when you were feeling clear-headed and your prefrontal cortex was firing on all cylinders. Let's take my client Sarah as an example. She's a startup founder who used to put in 16-hour workdays. That is, until she started using the boundary blueprint. She set some firm rules for herself: a 90-minute lunch break where she got away from her desk, a Tuesday night pottery class, and a strict no-work email policy between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. In just 3 weeks, her team saw a difference. Sarah was making decisions with more clarity and responding to problems with more thoughtfulness. Her mental capacity wasn't growing because she was working harder, but because she was safeguarding her time to recharge. Habit number 2, energy checkup. Get this. Most of us have never really sat down and figured out what actually boosts our energy levels and what totally zaps them. We just go through our days on auto, sometimes feeling completely wiped out, but never actually doing what I call an energy checkup. This energy checkup isn't about logging what we do that's productive versus what's unproductive. It's way more detailed than that. It's about pinpointing which things we do, places we go, and people we interact with that either fill us up with mental energy or drain us, no matter how useful they're supposed to be. All you have to do is carry a little notebook around for a week. Every time you finish something, have a chat or change your surroundings. Just jot down how energetic you feel on a scale of 1 to 10 and note any trends you notice. Don't overthink the results. Just gather the info. This works because our actual feelings often clash with what we believe. That meeting you thought was super important might always feel like a 2, while that pointless walk outside could feel like a 9. Your brain is sending you crucial signals that your conscious mind is used to ignoring. Consider Michael, an executive who found out through his energetic audit that his afternoon strategy sessions, which he saw as vital, were actually draining his energy, consistently scoring them a 3. On the other hand, his morning creative work scored an 8. Just by reshuffling his schedule to safeguard his creative mornings and confining strategic meetings to only twice a week, he boosted his overall productivity and significantly reduced his stress. Habit number 3, the tiny step technique. We often think of vacations or weekends as the prime time for recovery. But there's a twist. By the time your break rolls around, you're likely so worn out that real recovery feels out of reach. The micro-recovery method turns this idea on its head. Instead of waiting until you're depleted, it weaves in quick, deliberate recovery moments throughout your day. It's like interval training, but for your brain, short spells of focused work, punctuated by intentional recovery periods. To put this into practice, Try scheduling 3 to 5 3-minute recovery breaks throughout your day. During these short pauses, pick one of the 3 R's to focus on: respiration, deep breathing, rehydration, savoring some water, or reorientation, looking out at the distance or a window. Essentially, what's happening in your mind is that you're stopping stress from piling up. These little moments of recovery keep stress hormones from reaching a point where they mess with your thinking. It's similar to letting off a little steam from a pressure cooker now and then, instead of waiting for the whole thing to blow. I saw this change firsthand with Jamie, a lawyer who started using these micro-recovery breaks between meetings with clients. Before, by the time her day was over, she was making more and more mistakes in her case analyses because she was just mentally worn out. But after she started taking these short, 3-minute breaks here and there, she found that her mind stayed sharp all day long, and she even started having an easier time falling asleep, even though she was still dealing with the same workload. Habit number 4, task classification. We're often told that prioritizing involves considering how important and urgent something is. However, this typical approach overlooks a vital aspect: the specific mental effort that each task demands. The task taxonomy rearranges your to-do list, not based on when things are due, but on the mental power they require. It identifies 3 main mental states: creation, which involves coming up with ideas, writing, and designing; analysis, which includes evaluating, making decisions, and planning; and administration, which covers organizing, responding, and putting things into action. Most burnout happens when we make our brains quickly jump between these very different kinds of mental activities. Okay, I understand. Instead of organizing your day by project or deadline, try grouping similar types of tasks together. Think of it as putting your brain into different modes throughout the day. For example, you could use your mornings for creative work, the middle of the day for administrative tasks, and the afternoons for analytical thinking. Here's why this approach works. It stops your brain from getting fried by constantly shifting gears between different tasks. You see, different mental activities use different parts of your brain. When you keep jumping back and forth, your brain has to completely reboot every time, which is a real energy drain. Take David, for instance. He's a marketing director who completely overhauled his workday using the task taxonomy. Before, he'd be flitting between creative brainstorming, firing off emails, and analyzing campaigns all day long. Now, he sets aside specific chunks of time for each type of mental work. His team was worried at first about being left hanging, but the quality of David's work shot up so much that they got used to the new schedule in no time. Habit number 5, resetting your senses. In this day and age, where we're constantly surrounded by digital devices, we've drifted too far from our physical selves, but our most advanced brain functions are deeply connected to what we see, hear, feel, and so on. The sensation reset taps into this link to give an overworked nervous system a fresh start. This approach is different from mindfulness, which often emphasizes accepting and noticing your thoughts and feelings. Instead, the sensation reset is about actively stepping in and jolting those racing thoughts by flooding your senses with contrasting experiences. To try this out, pinpoint 3 sensory experiences that evoke a powerful yet enjoyable physical response. These will be your go-to methods for hitting the reset button. For me, it's holding an ice cube in my hand, breathing in a particular essential oil, and cranking up a favorite song on my headphones. When those first signs of mental overload pop up, like your mind racing, breathing, becoming shallow, or feeling easily annoyed, jump right into one of your sensory reset tools. The trick is to do something that's intense and completely different from what you're currently doing. This works because a strong sensory input briefly overrides your brain's default mode network. That's the part of your brain that makes you dwell on things and worry. It creates a kind of pattern interrupt in your brain, giving your overactive stress response system a chance to rebalance. I explained the sensation reset idea to Taylor, a project manager who was starting to lose sleep over anxiety about deadlines. She decided to use splashing cold water on her face, doing jumping jacks, and listening to a particular song as her reset methods. When the pressure from work started to build, she'd take a quick reset minute. Her team quickly saw that she came back more calm and ready to problem solve, and pretty soon, the whole department was trying it out. The essential nature of integration. We've explored 5 impactful systems: the boundary blueprint, safeguarding your energy stores; the energetic audit, uncovering your actual energy rhythms; the micro-recovery method, stopping gradual depletion; the task taxonomy, respecting your brain's varied ways of working; and the sensation reset, breaking stress cycles before they worsen. However, the vital understanding that connects all of these is this: these aren't methods to adopt only once burnout is upon you. Instead, they're proactive habits that build resilience beforehand. The integration imperative calls for incorporating these practices into the everyday rhythm of your life now, rather than holding off until warning bells ring. Let's kick things off today by choosing just one habit from each system. Jot them down, plug them into your calendar, and promise yourself you'll stick with them for the next 14 days. You won't magically transform overnight. Building resilience takes time and steady effort, but you'll start feeling slight changes in your energy, focus, and emotional balance within 2 weeks. Think about tackling your most demanding projects, not with that familiar sense of dread about how they'll affect your mental well-being, but with a newfound assurance in your capacity to maintain peak performance without crashing. This isn't just about sidestepping burnout. It's about forging a brand new connection with productivity itself, one grounded in lasting energy management rather than sheer willpower and self-sacrifice. The habits that rescued me from burnout didn't merely bring me back to where I was before, they overhauled my whole system. They're poised to do the same for you beginning right this moment.